So this is the reality. This is what we talk about every day. And sometimes, the mentality behind NPP, and then other people like us, higher. Because there are some people in the NPP based in there, they don't want to admit to say the NPP is not about Ghana, And then because the fact is the NPP is not about Ghana. Your people NPP they know the truth. Say NPP it is not about Ghana. It is about Nipebi. They feel say they are different. And they be America and the majority of them that has been how you train you brainwash you can't do say MPP in your cry it is almost say Ghana cry because at a point in our history as Ghanaians time and Ghana for year prefer with 1957 now you will nipe be free the National Liberation Movement party Otumfuo wafa e de 700 pounds tie saa party de akoto papa emote Otumfuo ka se ne wafa tie party saa ochiame akoto na oyo Otumfuo ne nananom chiame they did not even want independence, and we need to admit because the British Parliament the records are there. Time and Kwame Nkrumah and Ghana were crying and mourning, and they were all saying, we need independence to make sure we take care of our own affairs. There were some people not almost free the liberation movement and the MPP free. They were also insisting, say no. They don't want Ghana to do what? To have say abrofo Ghana independence they were there. Abrofo knew it. The Queen of England, who was under pressure to sign and say Ghana is an independent country in 1957. The Queen in Parliament, the Speaker of Parliament, when they were reading what the Queen said, the Queen was even shocked. Say how can say a country is going to be given independence? A country we have dealt with, a country we have cheated, a country now we believe that they have come of age to take care of their own affairs. There are some group in that country I almost say so Obama Ghana independence to call it a whole country is separate from the whole country. In 1957, when you go into the British Parliament, archives, the Hansard, you will see it. It was stated clearly. And this was the last statement of the Queen in Parliament, telling parliamentarians to say, we are not going to agree to the National Liberation Movement and those group of people who want their independence alone from Ghana. Because time ne Otumfuo wafamo almost say ma British for ne ma Ghana independence. That's why ma Ghana independence there. Independence momo. Yes, these are facts. And adia obi try obi so. You get it? When you go into the archives, let's do this quickly. History, and sometimes history is comfortable, but we need to do it because why nya? And then history is important. When you go back into history, these are documented. They are available. You can go and search for them. This is the British Parliament. This was in 1957. Ghana Independence Bill, Volume 562. Debated on Tuesday 11 December 1956, a year. December, March 1957, and independence. December 1966, the British were discussing this in their parliament. The Queen was about or was ready to make Ghana go as an independent country. In parliament, that is the 11th of December 1956, a year before December 1957 January, in parliament, the Queen was saying, the British were saying, this liberation, national liberation force for the independence. Now see the records are there. You can go and read the records for yourself. And no mentality NPP. It is not about Ghana. It's about Santifo. Now when you go into the archives and you want to read the documents, I've shown you where the documents are. Go there and read for yourself. UK Parliament, the Hansard is there. Ghana Independence Bill. You can read everything and you know exactly what they said. That was where their stance was. MPP for no more pay independence. No more say a country. They wanted Asantuma to be a country on its own. What were the remarks of the British? What did the Queen say? How did she feel about it? Now, see, When you read some of the documents, and let me see if I can get one or two for you. When you read some of the documents, this is what it says. Mame Chow, I'm not going to make things up here. History, we have to do our best to let people know the real history of Ghana. This is British Parliament. Now, we read baby at the red line, as I said, the National Liberation Movement, the Northern People's Party, and the Asantman Council have recently sent formal resolutions to my right honorable friend, the Colonial Secretary, asking for separate independence to be awarded to Ashanti and Northern Territories, and for the appointment of a partition commission to divide up the assets and liabilities of the Gold Coast. Enti saa time am free UGMC beti liberation ya de no amokofa eyesrimfo kakra be ka omo no. What they did was time 1956 in UK Parliament nana abrofo no ready to sign Ghana off say omo independent no. Asantefo Council, the Asantman Council, omo ne National Liberation Movement baafo akotomo eteye no amokofa asrimfo kakra be ka omo say omo pese ye ti omo ho. They don't want to be part of Gold Coast. These are stuff. It's on record. A British for Parliament. These are the concerns. Asantefo ahemfo no any National Liberation Movement. The brobo. So mo the Ghana independence, mama Ghana dia, and the montie ho. Monye yenkwa kuro. We don't want to be part of Ghana because Bawumia Kotomo Otumfuo said to mo £700 at the NLM. The records are there. And it's that mentality nisha NPP tribunal. Because they feel say they are not part of Ghana. They feel say they are bigger than Ghana. They feel say if you are not in the Ashanti region where Jimmy and then properly from operate and then any motivation okay say Ashanti region is the most important. Into your bunini, we are koni, we are zmani, we are fantini, we are teni, we are unini, we are Ghanani. The party was built on tribalism. They were selective. They don't recognize anybody apart from maybe a party from a free. This is British Parliament document. I did not make this up. Now you are getting the picture. Maybe kind of a few of the things that happened in Parliament. UK, December 1956. Actually, now you now understand why the MPP has brought us here today. Now the bill which we are discussing today is in itself evidence of the intentions of Her Majesty's government to proceed with the grant of independence of the country as a whole. So Her Majesty, the Queen of England, now that time no, she wanted to Ghana to be a Ghana as a whole, Gold Coast as a nation. But not National Liberation Council, the Asantman Council, they wrote to our British Parliament and say, we don't want to be part. Afei, so don't listen to these bloggers. They social media, they don't understand what we are doing. And I don't hate Asantefo, but I'm setting the record straight. It make nobody think Ghana. Claim say independent. I want to afford, you know. Because I will prove to you today. The British, the Queen, she knew she did not have full authority on the Volta region. She knew it because from the documentations, they knew say the British did not have 100% control on the Volta region, but there was an agreement. Enti se atena Ghana kwa oman ka so me de kese pa no Togoland. Awonafo no they are supposed say yeah, we are not being diabolic, say we are not trying to destabilize our democracy. They are supposed to claim their independence, and it's all in British Parliament. This is all in the British Parliament. Mama can be in trouble. What transpired? This is 1966 December. Now see, make sure some of the records in some of the kind of Parliament, British Parliament, before the Queen, after 3 months, all issues a Ghana, British free, your say free. Now read baby I read in the start now. And I quote, Her Majesty's government do not consider that the partition of the Gold Coast is in the interest of the Gold Coast as a whole or of any of its component parts, and cannot abandon their established policy which is directed towards the grant of independence to the Gold Coast as a whole. Almost say Queen say San seminar Santamai Council NLM for ne kano ohun say a almost selfish interest. It is not in the interest of Ghana. We're British Brunei, British Parliament. These are records. It's not Queen who say na ye dey na Santifo any LM4 any sa group kitwano, they want their only interest. Abra, the holistic interest of Ghana, no, they don't care. I am not saying this. These are words of the Queen in British Parliament in 1956. 4 months and sana 1957. 57 and sana independence. So this is 1956 December, January 57, February 57, March 7th. And in your independence. And you need to understand, say, the British Crown Parliament, they were shocked. They were like, Queen, no, these are the Queen's statement. That is why it is quoted. Or say, why should I, at this point, make you people as Otumfuo Nkwa, NLM Nkwa, a nation, and then the rest, the Gold Coast. The Queen was like, these people are selfish. Now you are getting the drift. These are facts. These are facts. Oko British Parliament. They are there. Go there and read. Kevin Taylor, Udima Tama, and Kobe Bia, because I'm showing you the facts. Go and search for yourself. Go and read everything. And then you will understand why we are here. MPP for someone Tiasie. Ghana no, I was here the man Nipakuobi. That is not how it's supposed to be. Ghana is supposed to be governed by all of us. And nitina amanfobi tuaba, they are not voting for the development of Ghana. So ko to obi na sebio ebi mu mo asantime mu no omo kasara omo tuaba for asantimai mensia revenge against Ghana. Asantifo bi, they have a personal issue with Ghana. It is not because they wanted to be independent. And a British one said that be that go the be a tamu kuruma tam in the name of Ghana. In the name of Asantimai. So why at this crucial moment? Now, this is what the Queen said. Her Majesty's government are now proceeding with the preparation of the necessary constitutional instruments, having regard to the circumstances of the Gold Coast and the efforts which were made to reach agreement locally. The grant of independence to the Gold Coast is an act of goodwill which Her Majesty's government trusts will be received by the people of the Gold Coast in a spirit of responsibility which will command. So the Queen was like, no, my government, we are ready to hand Ghana, to give them their right, to let them be independent, not some part of Ghana. Inti se nkebo careless anka nipa kuo kito bi mfi LNM eye Otumfuo of a party that is £700 tie no ene nipa kuo kito bi obufi Asanteman Council yebo careless anka Ghana was going to be split. Se enye broni na ono ane nyansem ohun say Ghana needs to be Ghana as a whole and a Gold Coaster anka ndeme no ka say anka kurowe anka peace bitarim. Now let me show you a few things where British Parliament, I am not making it up. Go and read it for yourself. Remember, making things up. That is what you have to do. In Tuba, honorable members will be aware that the different parts of the country are independent, both politically and economically. Indeed, the North and the South are complementary to one another. To sever would be to cripple. Bronini said, "Omo who said Ghana no, Ekrobia." Ekura omu nyina sebi omudin sawoso free north, south, east, especially the north and the south. Now see, say omu betwa Ghana mu no, na just Ghana no sebi omudin abro. Or see, to sever would be to cripple. Say omu twa Ghana ni bi ebe nkura na omu bokuro no bo. Omu bonase na so omu dwirega kuro no sebi omu ma ekuro no ayeden ayebubuani. Say literally no person ka kire say nka omu twa Ghana ni bi omu twa Asanteman nko afri Ghana mu ebe ye ni kuro a omu say Ghana broni adwemu no o say ye twa baby kura kitwa bi say we di omu ka Ghana ho na yama the other part independence na broni na adwemu no wa say kuro ni nyina. And inti the Queen, Her Majesty said no. Now you are getting it. So na Asanteman Council, NLM no 2 na edit 7 ne for this £700 tea no any small group no, they didn't want a whole independence. And then I translate here bedru your politics more and the from pare it be Ghana him say, oh Asanteman Kwan here, other regions in here. You were 16 regions in Ghana. How can you just stand at one place as a politician and say Asanteman Kwan here or more Makano? But in the Ashanti region, there were different people from different regions joining the Ashanti region. Without the effort of other tribes in the Ashanti region cannot stand on its feet. It will collapse in a day. I don't hate Otumfuo. I am setting the record straight. Mema Ghana for who are the Kudientia MPP near the Omo. They don't care. They have Asanteman of 47 MPs. Development beyond Asanteman, they don't care. Because they feel say they are entitled. I was say Ghana de Maumo. I was say you chat Matemo Hono and no one free buy. We're a British Parliament. In Togoland, Mombom Payama Queen now wuno because she loved the Gold Coast. She didn't love some part of the Gold Coast. Listen, Mokoda Mombom Payama, the queen who died, she loved the Gold Coast. She didn't love some part of the Gold Coast. If she was selfish and she didn't care more about the people who did not have that power down there, she would have said, I don't care. But she was looking at the holistic picture. She was looking at the ideology and the people who are willing to work together as a people, as one. So she was like, I am not going to cut any part of this country and make it independent. I am going to give the country to them. They should build it as a people. And it's you will see, so say the partition of the country at this stage in its history, moreover, would not only inhibit further development and progress, but would mean a serious falling back in the standards of life which the country has done so much to achieve during the past 4 years. In the past few years, the Queen understood. Say, Anka Matimo Hono Komutia Asanteman Council ni NLM. Anka the development na ya choke bedu 1957 na omobe handi over ya independence. They knew the country would have broken down again. The Queen knew. She had been visiting Ghana when she was young, 17, 18 years. She knew that the moment you take a piece out because of some people's selfish interest, you are basically going to collapse the nation. And no na I translate Yabedu MPP ne. So as much as the Queen wasn't the perfect human being, at least she had a good heart. I don't agree. Said the white people enslaved our people, took our gold, took our resources. I don't agree. And I always say it's despicable, and I'll not sit here and say Abrofai idea, but I can tell you for a fact, she had a good heart. She actually saw Ghanaians as one people. She didn't see them as different people because of their language. And that is the only thing. If this woman had been selfish and very, 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 very evil-minded, but today, it is still showing. NPP minister, Jane MPP Ayewa Santimemu, or say Onya Shukra Betwam MPP. That is where the whole thing is. So it is not about the development of Ghana. They think, say, they are entitled. And I say they think, some of them in the Ashanti region, they think, say, they are entitled. They Colonial Mutia. Inti Sebio, se party ni mwa kra, ne ye pese ye tin yon dada. Inti mubetuma se kuruno. That is the idea. And it's a bit historical say, Mesum Otumfuo, you have the right. But at the end of the day, Otumfuo said the constitution of Ghana say. So Osum Otumfuo, it is right. So it is right. But at the end of the day, Ghana worships the constitution of the Republic of Ghana. Nobody is higher than the constitution of Ghana. And we need to think holistic. We are supposed to stop thinking like children, kids who are always picky. Okay? In the parliament, there are a few things I want to read to you. You will understand where we are. Why we need to come together as a people. We should put aside that silly tribal nonsense. And then I say Chrono. Now, this is British Parliament. These are the records. Now, already baby a red mark in one now. What year Osla no be kano? And then Osla better TV so can say yeah GMI. And now Refi. Osla catch them say yeah GMI. And yeah asono kan one can track cool. Asono kan one can track cool. There was a reason. Or see yeah GMI because they have always have that mentality say Ghana ne yomudia. Bawumia jina ha, Ekufuado jina ha, ye GMI. She was not just saying it. She believes in it because they are entitled. Now already maybe a red mark. What does it say? This is what it says. It says this. Okoto, all right, I hear you. Ochina, Okoto will tell Ghanaians about the contribution of Buzia. Ochina, 6:30 p.m. Ghana time. You can catch Okoto on Loud Silence TV. Obeba Bechom, the contribution of Buzia. Ebia unim. What Buzia? Ochina meet in Okoto 6:30 Ghana time. Loud Silence TV. So Obeba Bechom, the contribution of Buzia. Now you understand Ghana politics. Obabe Juju Machro. Don't miss Inkoto. Obetuma follow on Facebook, Inkoto or Inkoto 101 on YouTube. Free Mind will come in the morning to do more damage. This is where we study Ghana. Do not think so be time will be. We are letting you know the fact. Don't miss tomorrow. Ochina Inkoto on Facebook. NKOTO. Obetshrow the contribution of Buzia in all this. Now you understand why we are here today. Now, already document where, look at where they have marked it red. No? And let me read it from the top. For more than 30 years, Her Majesty's government have administered the trust formally mandated territory of British Togoland as an integral part of the Gold Coast, as it was entitled to do under the terms of the trusteeship agreement. I'm saying for more than 30 years, where a British Parliament to hands at the no British Brunei Kasano and Nitina Western Togoland if we do some time on my charge. If we say, yeah, can Ghana, Oman also Omakasa Ghana or some tea Muyo Mukura, a Western Togoland for Kandapa in 2020, Esma, National Security Kuku, they deserve hearing. We need to hear people out, and I don't condone them separating themselves from Ghana, never. But people deserve hearing. We need to hear them out. We need to hear, say, if they have a statement, if they have a case. And these are things we do to build a nation. Utie almost story now. This is the Queen's statement. For more than 30 years, Her Majesty's government have administered the trust formally mandated territories of British Togoland as an integral part of the Gold Coast, as it was entitled to do under the terms of the trusteeship agreement. So the British themselves recognized the Western Togoland and Wunafono as the integral part of Ghana, and they had Omonkwani the only people the British signed an agreement with. That before the British can make Ghana a whole nation, they will need to sit with them and then make sure that the agreement, either say Obia fulfill the part and son a bit to my Ghana at the Awunafodi in account. So if today somebody is from the Western Togoland and Awunamuno say, yeah, I'll say tier 1. It is all about dialogue. We need to let people understand. We need to sit. Yeah, and send it police because even when you go into the British Parliament document, it is clearly stated by the Queen. They had an agreement with Awunafono. Awunafono Kwani, the only people that the British could not take complete their over because they had to sit. Awunafono Mahmoud Yomusa to Kratasi. Now, when you go on and you read, I say 2 years ago, Her Majesty government informed the United Nations that after the attainment of independence by the Gold Coast, this arrangement will no longer be constitutionally possible. And the United Nations accordingly agreed last year that a plebiscite should be held to ascertain the view of the inhabitants on the future status of the trust territory. So the British went to UN to tell them, say, yani Awunafo we contract bi a sign. Sa contract yanhwe we ya sign any independence ma Ghana. Omo individual wan hwa enka omo. Into our sad no you solve that problem no because they can come back and tell you there is a contract and that it clearly states that they basically were not under the British full control. These are documents, these are facts. It's for the Kandapa to send Ghanaians to go and kill their fellow Ghanaians because they are stating the obvious. When you go into a British Parliament, it is there. It is because I don't think people in the Volta region today want to be a country. They just want to be heard. They want people to understand that some people cannot sit in the south and boast. They even have more rights to say nobody has that 100% control over them. These are the facts. And it is not about somebody's wearing suit. These are record. These are on the record. British Parliament. Now when you move ahead, it says this. And the United Nations accordingly agreed last year that a plebiscite should be held to ascertain the view of the inhabitants on the future status of the trust territory. Into UN for catch British for say did they do it? Did they overlook it? Did they ignore the views of the inhabitants? Yes. These are the things. We should not suppress people because they want to be heard. We should not deliberately try and make it look like say nipa bi nya Ghana for and it if people for no I for nya Ghana for Ghana for no metima say Ghana's democracy if they want to, and the United Nations cannot fight them because the documents are there. So for these people to hold their tongue all these years and admit to say, even though these are clear violations of our rights, we still believe say we can work with Ghanaians. Now, we need to applaud them. We need to give them that respect because these people, they can at the end of the day destabilize our democracy. Yes. So we are not supposed to sit in Ghana and feel say nipa bi Jimmy, nipa bi moi, nipa bi. No, we are supposed to see or be a contribution to the development of this country. Now, who read the other paragraph? I'll say this plebiscite, which was held under United Nations auspices in May 1956, resulted in a clear majority vote in favor of the union of the territory with an independent Gold Coast. And in July of this year, the Trusteeship Council passed. So basically, there was an agreement. So nobody should have a problem with Otumfuo. Because even Asantefo, 1% independence, because so now Asantefo person it's in Ghana today, more case. But who are the people who are most one amona yatata more Ghana more? I want to follow. Yembu person be dipa. JJ Ron so winning 1992. Now go back to a strategy be atia want to for Ghana. Yes, he was the president. He could have made some people petition him. So I want ni. They are being disrespected and come back to my president. So, I don't know anything. These people brought a petition to Parliament that they are not part of Ghana. Then but he did not agree to that. Even though he knew his people have grievances, he was like, let us still build. How do you come to power and you can what's my soldier from Otumfuo because they want to be heard? Today you have jailed about 15 of them. I didn't try because they want to be heard. Now can the power be do by there? Obicho bano boni tributo ebe edian kwasi amai na mo chichire ne sa no. And as we speak, some people have been jailed because Kandapa and MPP for say, they want to overthrow Kufuado. Jimmy. Now just as uncle from the go jail illegally, no. A day will come. You have destroyed their lives. Lives. Because of politics, stupidity, we have destroyed people's life. Now, I'm reading at the intro. Nechiramo history, no. It is almost an MP before Kasasa, MP before SR, deliberate. They don't regard Ghana's independence. As Santifoni Bido, they do not regard it. Results in a clear majority vote in favor of the nation union of the territory with an independent Gold Coast. And in July of this year, the Trusteeship Council passed a resolution noting that the will of the majority of the inhabitants was for union with an independent Gold Coast and recommending, and I quote, that appropriate steps be taken in consultation with the administration authority of the termination of the trusteeship agreement for the territory to become effective upon the attainment of independence by the Gold Coast. So the idea was simple. Fine. Yatias here. Yenya will come together, even though we can say ye pay crew. but because of unity, yenye together. By any hour for the person what say yenye together krane yebeye kuro ba kwa. Our due respect and our due was a Ghana de mine or some de mao. It is a record. This is the British Parliament. Yenya independence we be seen there. We are even telling them so omu Togo for Mahmoud Bawumia Jimmy for ebe year in 2015 or say I wanna for if Togo the beto aba abro no Bawumia na Ghana ni. These are facts. I am not making this up. These are facts. Oh, Kevin Taylor, I have shown you a message to baby. Who Ghana problem? Yeah, GM, kind of qua. They have it. Now, when you read the lower part, it says this: the recommendation was approved by the 4th Committee of the General Assembly on 5th December, and it is expected that it will be endorsed by the General Assembly during its present session and before 6th March 1957. So these documents were supposed to be done. These agreements were supposed to be reached before Kwame Nkrumah declaring Ghana as an independent country. Did they do it? No. So when the young people in Water Region, Western Togoland say, we want to be heard, have they done anything wrong? Today in Ghana, you were Ghana for 30,000. They don't give them the opportunity to vote. Does it give them the right to rise up and say they want to be independent? Yes. I am being honest with you here. Benjamin, Tieno Onko for omu timi nka wenchiro omu nima de omu nim nyansa omu ni ghost team papa omu ni good production team me wi a chiro bebi akwaken kan no. Now let me show you this without wishing to go into more detail than I need. This is British Parliament. There are some points which I must draw the attention of the House. First, there is the name Ghana. First, there is the name Ghana. This has been conferred on the new country in accordance with local wishes. It was the name of an ancient kingdom in what is now French territory south of Sahara, which has acquired great historic significance in the Gold Coast. So that is where Ghana name was derived from. Now we go to the second paragraph. Next to call for special mention is the first proviso to clause 1. This explains that the bill will not apply, and I quote, in relations to Togoland and the United Kingdom trusteeship until Her Majesty so provides by order in council, which shall be made as soon as practicable after provision has been made for termination of the trusteeship agreement for that territory upon its union with an independent Gold Coast. So the British, after they basically came into Parliament to